Hey, friends.
Hey, friends.
Welcome to Leave Me Alone. I'm working on it. I'm Cassie J,
And I'm Aurea Jolie.
the very pregnant Aurea Jolie.
Yo, guys, can we, I want this baby to arrive when he's ready and fully cooked. But, I'm getting ready to serve him an eviction notice because I'm just like, I've
Hectic.
had enough. I
Hectic.
cannot. I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
But that's
gonna,
funny, but it's true. I fully get that.
yeah. Um, mhm. It's time. It's time. They warned me. Like I had a friend who had a baby a couple months before
Mm.
me, and she was like, "Oh, try to get everything you need to get." And my sister also warned me, "Try to get everything done before you get to third trimester. You'll be so tired." And I was just like, "How tired could I possibly
Gonna
be?
be
It's gonna be
fine.
fine." It most certainly is not fine.
It was
It
not
is
fine.
not fine. It is the furthest thing from fine. I can do very little before I am tired. My work day is like a 2-hour day and then it's done. And then I just can't. I'm so tired. I should have listened. But I
It's okay. It's your
I
first
was
one.
feeling myself. I was like,
You should
"Oh,
also
I'm
have a
strong."
have a bit of grace. Um, so today, I think today's episode, I think it's gonna be a little bit serious. So I just
Oh.
want to prep you on that.
Oh boy.
And it's something that I've been thinking a lot about as well.
'Cause I
Recently.
don't have the emotional
No, it's not
bank
like
balance for a serious episode.
I'm just saying, we're here now. It is what it is. Find it.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mhm.
but it's not like personal. Well, actually, who knows where our episodes start somewhere in somewhere else.
Yes,
So
like
let's
that
see how we
episode I
go.
did on
Okay.
toxic traits about other people, and it
Exactly.
ended up being about me.
it ended up being a self introspection for you,
Yeah.
but out loud with all of the
With
LMA
everyone
community.
listening. Mhm. Yep.
Okay. So there I was on Threads. I was on Threads.
See, even you're confused as to what social media
What
platform
I
you're
was
on.
on,
There's
yeah, it's
too
true.
many.
So I was on Threads, okay?
Mhm.
And there was this conversation that was happening, and the basic I'm not going to go fully into the conversation, but it was about everything that's happening with US politics at the moment, which is
Oh
crazy.
gosh.
I know. Okay? It's crazy. It's all of the headlines, excuse me, every news article is always talking about the next thing that Trump has signed, the next thing, and then he's rolled it back because he realized he did his tariff thing, and then he's like 30-day hold while the whole world freaks out. But anyway, so it was about US politics. And someone in the comments was like, wait, guys, what's going on? Like, I don't really understand. Can someone explain it to me?
Mm,
Okay. But the way this girl phrased her question was honestly like she had been living under a rock. It's like, how do you not know about
mm,
this thing, you know? And so people came for her in a way that I thought was too hard. But like, people came for her to just kind of be like, what do you mean you don't understand this thing? How do you not know this? Where have you been? What are you reading? What do you consume? How do you not know? And they really came down on her super hard for not having kind of like a base knowledge understanding of what was going
mm.
on. Anyway, so for me, this brought up this whole thing of like, where do you draw the line between like taking a stand on an issue and then actively choosing willful ignorance? Okay? Like, where do you draw the line? Where is it appropriate for you to be like, I see the world falling apart, but you know what? Actually, I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to know more. I would love to. And I'm just not gonna engage. What are your opening thoughts on this?
This is an easy one because my spirit animal is the ostrich.
The
I'm a very
ostrich.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
bury it head in
I'm
the
a
sand.
bury my head in the sand kind of person. I don't want to deal with it, head in the sand. I don't like how it looks, head in the sand. I don't like how it tastes, how it smells, head in the sand. I don't like you, head in the sand. I'm just like, I'm
Mm,
not dealing with it. That's my default response to most things, especially
yeah.
unpleasant things that I'm not ready to deal with. Now,
Yeah.
having said that, I'm not saying that that is a right response or that that's a
No,
healthy
I'm with you.
response.
I'm with you. I'm with
But
you.
sometimes, for the sake of self preservation or even just mental health preservation, sometimes you do need to step away from things. Like I stepped away from social media for a
Yeah.
while because
Yeah.
I was just like, this is killing me, you know?
Mm,
But having said that, I think that you need to be able to make a conscious choice as to why you are stepping away, when you are stepping away. This is one of those things where ignorance is most certainly not bliss. Like you cannot, how to put it, you you need to venture out into the world and
mm,
see that there's some shit going on and then
mm,
choose to step away from that thing for a
mm,
while. But
mm.
not knowing at all because you never even stepped outside, not knowing anything, I think that's dangerous. Because if you imagine you are like, oh, I'm choosing peace, I'm choosing peace, I'm choosing peace, and so you're not on social media, you don't listen to the news.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there is a warning going out that a tornado is about to hit, but you are just in your home with the windows closed and the curtains drawn, and you know
And you don't know
nothing.
anything.
You're just
Look,
like,
I hear you and I hear you. So I think there's gonna be times when it's like where it's I'm choosing. So for me, it's like
sorry,
if
hold on.
you
I think the point I'm making is you
mm,
need to know enough. Sorry.
mm,
You need to know
mm,
enough to
mm,
choose to step away from it. You can't know nothing
mm,
and just step
mm,
away. What are you stepping away from? You
mm,
need to
mm,
know
mm,
enough to then be like, this is what's happening in the world today. And I'm
mm.
choosing this reason to step away for my mental health, for my kids' sake, for my joy, whatever. But you
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
know enough of what's happening in the world around you to choose to step away.
With
Ignorance
you.
is most definitely not bliss.
With you. With you. And so for me, I'm like, so where I'm kind of at is I think that there are things in the world where you can actually genuinely make the choice to be like, I'm not getting involved in this. So, and I'm being very silly, but this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni
I
war that's
chose
going
not to get
on.
involved.
You chose
Kind
not to get
of.
involved. I chose the opposite. I've watched every TikToker, I've watched every YouTube video. I've like I've seen the court things. I've gone onto Justin Baldoni's website. Like I have immersed myself fully in this. I know everything that has happened. I know the timeline. I know it all. Okay.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, if I bump into someone on the side of the street and they've got no idea what's happening in the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively thing, I'm not like, shame on you, like, no.
Yeah.
But what happens when it's like these big societal issues where you're almost, I don't want to say required to pick a side, but people, you're maybe forced to have an opinion. So for me, I'm like, the obvious ones are big things like Black Lives Matter,
Mm.
or things on gender
Roe
equality,
v. Wade.
Roe v. Wade, Israel versus Palestine. Um, I'm going to bring in the US politics thing as well because it is quite literally affecting the whole
Mm.
world. It's these things where you're almost forced to engage, you're forced to be involved. Um, and then it's just like, well, where do you draw the line? So someone comes up to you and is like, what is your opinion on, like, you and I are very open and very vocal about how we feel about women's rights. We're open about how
Mm.
we feel about racial rights, etc., etc. But if you are someone who is I don't know, you just don't want to be involved, you don't want to partake in the conversation, but you are a woman,
Hmm.
like, is that allowed, quote unquote? Like, is that quote unquote societally acceptable? Because there can be pressure on you to take a stand
Yes.
and to
A
fight
lot of
for the
pressure.
cause. Meanwhile, you're like, either you just don't have the emotional bandwidth for it, or whatever. But at the same time, you might be a demographic that's going to like benefit from the fight, but you've not contributed to the fight. Does that make
Look,
sense?
no, 1000%. And it's not a new conversation. It's a
Mm,
conversation that has gone on. And I don't know that we've actually ever really resolved it or tackled it properly. Because this thing you're saying about being a woman who, and in the absolute most layman terms, it's like being a woman who doesn't identify as a feminist is an actual black stain on your name.
there we go.
Like
Yeah,
it's an
yeah,
actual, what do you mean you're not a
yeah,
feminist? What
yeah,
do you mean you don't? So no, we literally take I'm not a feminist to mean that that
I
person does
don't
not support
support.
women's rights. That person does not believe in women's rights. That person does not
Yeah,
identify with the struggles
yeah,
that women have gone through or appreciate that the fight has gone and been brought to the door, that we have spoken truth to power, that we have, we like, but and so we come after them, we villainize them, we make them the enemy, like you are not part of us because
yeah.
you are claiming. But that's not necessarily what it means. It, like you said, it could just be that she's like, I'm choosing not to get involved in this particular way because
Mm,
I cannot handle it, or I can't deal with it. I don't have the emotional bank balance to deal with this. I just can't. But we there is no space currently in the world for you to be a part of a minority group and choose not to be act. And choose to walk away and choose to back down. It's the same thing
yeah.
for Black people. You're not allowed to be a Black person and not actively be all up in anything that's Black people
This is,
involved.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't, how can you say that you want to choose a white candidate over a Black candidate? Are you even
yeah.
Black? But
Exactly,
there's no room
exactly.
for, can we talk about whether or not the candidate is qualified for this role? Can we talk about whether or not I identify with this other person's politics or this person's beliefs or this person's manifesto goals, whatever? There's no room for that. It's like,
Mm.
it's plain. So this thing you're saying, Cass, I don't have an answer because
No, I don't have an answer either.
even me, I'm like, it got to a point, whew, gonna get canceled, but here we go. It got to a point where even with the feminism thing, I was like, I've had enough
I'm tired.
because it stopped. It felt for me, feminism was supposed to be a fight for equality.
Mm,
And that equality for me didn't just mean an equality between the genders, it was
mm,
equality within the gender. So like women
mm,
and men are equal, but with amongst women, all women are
mm,
also equal,
mm,
which
mm,
means the housewife and the CEO are
mm,
equal and
mm,
have
mm,
equal rights, should be
mm.
able to
An
choose,
equal
I want
value.
equal
Mm,
value, should be able to choose that this is how I want to show up in the world. I want to have
mm,
babies. That's what I want to
mm,
do. And or the CEO should be like, this is how I want to show up. I want to prioritize getting my name on buildings. I don't care about starting a family. Like for me, that's what it meant.
mm,
But there was a point in that movement where it was like, if you were a woman who was not demanding for more, wanting more, seeking more, then you
yeah,
were the problem.
yeah,
Then you were
yeah,
not deserving of the fight. Then you were
yeah,
wasting the energy. You were
yeah,
a disappointment to the women that had gone ahead of you and had laid the tracks and a da 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 da. So I was like, guys, guys, I'm tapping out, hey, because for me, what it means and what you people are now saying it means are two very different things. But
yeah.
it's not something I wanted to say out loud because I was like, if I said
Mm,
it, I would get canceled. Because I'm
mm.
like, you're fighting the wrong thing now. You're basically saying
I'm with
all
you.
women must want the same thing. All women must look the same way. All women must aspire to be the same person. That defeats the purpose of equality.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You're saying I
No,
only have value if I toe the line.
yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
I fully agree with you as well because I think that there's also something to be said about um like staying woke
Mm.
can actually be so exhausting.
Oh my God.
Do
Tell
you know?
me about it.
Staying woke can actually be so exhausting because staying woke is also just about being like informed
Mm,
24/7. It's like getting
mhm,
involved, it's getting stuck in the
mm,
detail, being able to,
mm.
support an argument. You go out for drinks and you start chatting, and there's two sides now form. Now you must be positively contributing with the up to date info, dates, stats, whatever. Like, it can be
It's too much.
so exhausting, right?
Mm,
And then
mm,
if you're silent, you're seen as being complicit. So if
mm.
I choose not to participate, if I choose not to, share my thoughts or my opinions, even if it means that it's not that I don't have them, I'm just choosing to be quiet,
Yeah,
even being quiet is making a statement, you know?
yeah.
And I think about during Black Lives Matter, when it first kicked off. I don't know if you remember, but on social media everybody was posting the black picture. It was just a
Y-
black picture.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was
Mm.
a day where we had 24 hours to post this thing. Now, a beautiful movement. Like the fact that there was
Solid.
solidarity from like
Mm-hmm.
millions of people around the world, across continents, countries, cultures, languages, barriers, all of the
Mm,
things. There was
mm,
solidarity. There is such incredible beauty and humanity in that. It's phenomenal. But what
mm.
has happened in the days, weeks following after that was this call out of people who didn't
Who
post.
didn't?
Even
Yeah,
if you didn't post the black picture, it mostly happened with celebrities, but it's
yeah.
like so and so didn't post, so and so didn't post. They
Mm.
support, they
And
support,
then they
they
got
support,
cancelled. Mm.
and then they get canceled or they get challenged, and now you feel forced to participate even if you don't know what this black picture means. You're like, everybody's posting a black picture, let me just post a black picture. But like,
Yeah,
what are you do you have the conviction behind what it
yeah,
is that's
yeah.
happening? So
Mm,
i think
mm.
i think there is a conversation to be had about the burnout of being woke. That's what I'm calling
It's so
it. Like
exhausting.
it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
It's
Um
information overload as well.
yeah. Now, the other thing, and I think that you kind of touched on this, but I want to call it out as well, because the other thing that I was thinking about is if you are in the minority group, okay, the one that's fighting to be heard, that's fighting to be seen,
Mm,
that's fighting to be acknowledged, um, we must also recognize the privilege of being silent. Okay? Because some
mm.
people don't have the privilege of remaining silent.
Yeah.
Okay? A big thing that sticks out for me right now is like, and not going into the politics of it all, Israel versus Palestine, but the
Mm.
pictures that we are seeing online
Yeah.
of people just their lives literally being demolished in front
Mm,
of the eyes of millions of people around the world. It is
mm.
horrific. It is heart-wrenching. It is disappointing. I'm getting emotional. I want to cry. But like, I have the privilege to turn it off.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? I have the
Yes. It
privilege
is
to
not your lived reality right
It is
now.
not my lived
You can
reality at
walk
all.
away from,
I can
yes.
walk away from it and I can pretend it doesn't exist.
You
But
can
for the
silence it.
people,
Yes.
the people in Palestine,
They
they
don't have
do
that.
not have that privilege.
Yes.
The people whose homes are being bombed, they do not have the privilege of being like, well, I'm just going to ignore this. The same thing
Mm,
is true of like in the black white fight, okay?
mm,
In the areas where white people are dominant, and if you are
mm.
someone who is white and you are witnessing, oppression, you have the privilege of turning away and just being like, actually, I don't have the capacity
I
for
can't
this right
deal with
now.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't deal with this right now,
Yes.
and that's your privilege,
Mm,
and so there's part of me also that's like recognizing the privilege of silence, and what
mm,
privileges do I hold and how am I using my privilege for
mm,
good. Because in that
mm,
case, I don't feel what's the word that I'm looking for, I don't feel forced into an opinion. I feel
mm,
convicted into an opinion.
mm.
Does that make sense? I feel
Yes,
convicted to
yes.
to stand up and speak for the people of Palestine, to stand up and
Mm,
speak for Black people, to stand up and
mm,
speak for women. You know,
mm.
like yeah. Anyway, the privilege of silence. That's what I. Yeah, my
Look,
brain.
the other the other side of this thing for me is that we are also and this is going to rock some people. We're
Mm.
also caught up in this little world we've built on these teeny tiny devices
Woo!
that we actually think that that's where change happens is on these
Oh
devices,
my
on
gosh,
platforms.
that's what I was gonna say next.
And so
You've
we think
literally
that
taken my next point.
when you
Please unpack.
we think that just because I posted a black picture, I changed my profile pic, I posted and I used all the right hashtags and I posted on WhatsApp and I sent the BCs, I've made change happen. And I'm not
Yeah,
going to discredit or deny
for sure,
that
for sure,
every
for sure.
little bit helps.
Mm,
But oftentimes, there are people who are silent on social media, but are in the rooms where these kinds of
fighting.
conversations are happening, fighting like you wouldn't
Mm,
believe. We've
mm,
turned activism into a a display on social
mm,
media, and we've taken it off of the streets, we've taken it out of the government rooms, we've taken it out of the policy rooms, we've taken it out of lobbying. Like we're not gonna do that. We're gonna sit on social media and post pictures and write nice
mm,
captions so that
mm,
everyone can see that we also lended our voice to the fight.
mm,
But what
mm,
did you do beyond posting a picture? How did you fight for women's rights? Did you go out
mm,
and protest? Did you check who you were voting for? Make sure that they are not someone who's going to come in and inflict more damage on the
mm,
community, on the minority group,
mm,
on the
mm,
fight. Are you
mm,
are you speaking truth to actual power? Not
mm,
just on social media, because that's
mm.
the other thing we do. We become so, and again, don't get me wrong, social media is a powerful tool. Like Cassie was
So
saying,
powerful.
the Black Lives Matter movement, it was strong. The Me Too movement, strong.
Me too.
You
That's the
know,
other one.
social media is a great, great tool. But for me, I feel like it's a starting point and it's an amplifier. There's always more work and more things that need to happen behind closed doors, that need to happen off of social media. But we've come to a point where if we don't see, if you are not especially if you are a person of power or influence or privilege, if you are not the loudest voice on social media, we assume you don't care. We assume you're not
Mm,
part of the fight. We assume you're not doing anything. And then we
mm,
just cancel you.
mm, mm, mm,
Meanwhile, you are doing what you can with the privilege and the power that you have, speaking to the people, the right kinds of people, organizing the right kinds of
mm,
movements, the right kinds of meetings, the right kinds of,
mm.
I just want us to be a little bit more realistic with ourselves, that this fight that we think starts and ends on social media, it really does not.
Yeah,
Like, it's a
yeah,
great place, it's a great platform, it does the
yeah.
things, but there is so much more than just posting a picture on social media.
1,000%. I think you're so right, and you've taken a lot of words like straight out of my mouth. Truly, my next point was going to
Sorry.
be no, not sorry. It's the right. You're so right, because for me, what I was going to unpack is exactly these two things: the dichotomy of like performative activism,
Yeah.
okay, where it's like, I'm posting because it's cool to post, but then the other side of that coin being like the louder we make the noise, the more we make a difference.
Mm,
So even
mm.
in your performative activism, you're contributing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
1000%.
you're still
Yes.
contributing, but I then question your who you are, like your true
Conviction. Mm,
conviction,
mm-hmm.
because it's one thing to post the picture, but it's another thing to be at a dinner table with friends and someone makes a racist comment. Are you going to call them out?
Exactly.
Like, that's then a different thing.
Mm, Mhm.
Because one of the things that we did as well, this is something that's just come to my mind now, and I'm just thinking because I used to have this thing of like, oh, social media, like, what's the power of social media? Like, really, everyone's just posting,
Mm-mm.
nobody's really paying attention, but it's so powerful. Okay,
It is.
and an example I will give is there was I used to oh gosh now how much detail am I gonna go in? No, I'm gonna I'm going to go into the detail, okay? I used to ooh, I don't know. Okay, I used to work on,
Just
a fem care brand. I used to work on
right.
Always pads, basically, okay? It was a brand that I used to help manage. Okay. And a large part of us being, managing the brand is looking at the conversations that people are having online about the brand. And a
Mm.
big like industry conversation, not just about Always, but about all feminine hygiene products, was that there was VAT added onto
Yeah,
pads,
I
but
remember this
there's
chat.
there's no but you can walk into a bathroom and there's free condoms. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, why are we
Is there?
supporting
Where?
yeah, yeah, in
In
some
what
public bathrooms.
country?
South Africa. In
Really?
some public bathrooms you can walk in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's like free dispensers of condoms. But I must still pay uh, for pads, etc. Anyway, so, and honestly, like this started a conversation for us internally where we were like, okay, we're at this massive brand. Okay,
Mm.
we've got the ability to go and we've got public policy teams that engage with government on a daily basis.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know what I mean? And it's not just our company. All of the brands together have public policy teams that are engaging, that influence policy, right?
Mhm.
And so we all got together and we wrote a thing and we took it to government. And after it took a while, but after a couple months, together with the different departments that matter, whatever, um, sanitary pads are now zero VAT rated,
In South
in the country,
Africa.
in South Africa. Yeah,
Amazing.
there's zero VAT on that. But it took the people online, the activists talking about this online, starting a conversation on social media to gain our attention to be like,
Mhm.
this is a problem that we can help and go and fix. So the
Mhm.
power of social media, again, this is my example of why the power of social media
Mm.
shouldn't be underestimated. Um,
But you see how
but
the
yeah,
change the conversation started on social media, but the change didn't happen on social media. That's what
correct.
I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
both things need to happen. You can start
Yeah.
the conversation on social media. We can start the movement. We can get the hashtags. We can be as
Yeah.
loud as we want and spread it as loud
Yeah.
as we want. But on the other end of that, there needs to be people who maybe are not joining the social media conversation, but are taking that information or that movement to the policymakers who are taking it to making real change. So she might not be speaking on
Yeah.
social media, but you best
Yeah.
believe is fighting hard,
Like
trying
I'm
to
in the room with the people who can
exactly
I'm
in the
fighting.
room fighting to make sure that this
Yeah.
movement that has started here, we see it
Yeah.
through. There
Yeah,
needs to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
space for both of, so before I think for me it's more like before you come for someone who you think is privileged or who you think should be part of a movement or who you think is a celebrity or whatever, for not being part of something you think they should be part of, why not ask,
Mm,
hey ma'am, what are you how are you contributing to this, or what are you doing, or what are your thoughts on this?
mm,
Would
mm.
you, is this something, a movement you would be a part, as opposed to being like, she didn't post the black picture and then she'll come and,
Yeah.
like just you don't know what's happening behind closed
Yeah.
doors. You
Yeah,
really
for
don't.
sure.
I really love this example that you gave though. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Um, the other side of this, okay, so there's all of this pressure to speak out. And maybe one of the things is that you're maybe too like woke exhaustion,
Mm.
or maybe you don't agree, or maybe all of those things. The other thing is fear, like the fear of speaking out or taking a stand in various spaces. So
Yeah.
it's like if I am, and I'm just painting a picture as an example, if I am white and I've got a white boss who is racist. And then I post on my WhatsApp story, Black Lives Matter. Do you know what I mean? And then my
Now
boss,
you're gonna lose your job.
now I'm gonna lose my job. Now I can't feed my family. Now all of these things. And it's not to say that posting the Black Lives Matter is wrong. It's the right thing to do, but there is justifiable fear as to why I'm
Mm,
scared to take a stand. And this is another place where I don't have the answer, but I'm asking the question. Where
mm,
is the line then? Where is the line on taking a stand and like choosing to stay silent? Everything inside of me is going, of course you must post the Black Lives Matter because Black
mm.
Lives Matter. Of course you must stand on the side of what is right and what is good. Um and if you've got a racist boss, I would say run for the hills, like run. But that is so much easier said than done. Do you know what I mean?
Look, I feel like when we see injustice being done, whether it's a movement on social media or not, the right thing, the default humane thing to do is to speak out, is to
Of
call it
course.
out.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Always, that's the baseline. Now, this thing about fear is very real. This
Mm,
thing about maybe you're not able to deal with it in the moment is also very real. These are not excuses per se, and I'm not saying these are reasons
mm,
for you to never speak out when you see injustice, but these are real human
mm,
emotions that people will
mm,
go through.
mm, mm,
I think there needs to be a space, and again, it's not like I have the answers either, but
I
for instance, in the
definitely don't.
example that Cassie has given, I think there needs to be a space for you to recognize that yes, Black Lives Matter, but I have a
Mm,
racist boss and I have children I need to feed. Is there another way for me to support this movement, for me to speak this truth without putting my children's health at risk? So maybe
I'm
I'm
with
not
you,
posting
but
it on social media, but in
mm,
my community, am I doing something that supports this right movement that my boss is not going to know about because he's not in my community? Did I
mm,
join a protest, for instance? Did I sign a, gosh, what's that thing they
a
sign?
petition.
Did I sign a petition? Did I maybe stand up for someone at the in the grocery line when they were getting picked on for their race? Like, what did I do in my life to support that I am genuinely convicted that Black Lives Matter without putting my job and my livelihood at risk because those are my children. I must feed my babies. I think there
I'm
needs
with
to
you.
be
And
like
this is a
that's the
hard
kind of
one.
thing.
I'm with you. And
Yeah.
this is a hard one. But then for me, I go, so you support the racist as much as it suits you, but
How are you
for
supporting the
your
racists? You're not supporting the racists. You just work at this company.
but then what I'm saying is that you're two-faced. Because
How are you two-faced?
as long as it doesn't impact me, as long as it doesn't like hurt me in any way, shape, or form, then I will take a stand.
That's not what I'm saying
No,
because
I know. No, no, no.
the issue
I
here is
know.
not about impacting you. It's a different thing if it's more like you're trying to protect your street cred. Like, I want to be seen as a white privileged person who doesn't care about anyone else and who's okay with everything that's happening. But on the side, I'm like, no, I really do believe that Black Lives Matter. So I'm going to support, I'm going to put money here. This situation is more Black Lives Matter or my kids starve. I don't have another job. So,
Mm,
like, I'm saying, and again, if we go back to the chat about it, the conversation might be happening on social media, but the real change is happening off. So I'm
mm,
saying, can you be a part of the movement? Can you do whatever you can in your life? Because obviously, if your boss is racist and you don't like or you don't believe in it, I'm sure you're looking for another job, right?
I
But
hope
in the
so.
meantime,
I
well, I
really
hope
hope
so.
so.
I hope you're looking for another job, right? Because then you don't want to support that. But in the meantime, while you're looking for a job so that your babies don't go hungry, how can I be a part of this
Yeah.
movement without
Mm,
jeopardizing them? Because this is not
mm,
about you. This is not because
mm.
I want to keep my cushy. If the reason why you don't want to post it, for instance, is because they pay you, I'm making it up, $100,000 a month, and you're like, I'm not throwing that kind of money away just because Black Lives Matter. That's different.
Mm.
But here it's basically it's almost life and death. Like you
Like
don't
you're
have
in a
another job.
rock and
You're
a hard
exactly.
place.
You don't have
Mm.
another job. You don't have money coming in from anywhere else. You need to survive and take care of your family, but you also want to support the movement. I'm saying, what if you're supporting the movement just not on social media while you find a new job with a less shitty boss? Like it needs to be okay cuz to your point, it is still the privilege of silence.
Mm.
This person can choose not to be as vocal. They can choose to
Yeah.
prioritize their family. But
Mm.
and this is one of the things where I was like, w- humanity is so complicated these days because when people were when people were like Black Lives Matter, and then some people were like all lives matter, it became an issue,
Yo.
right? Because and for me it was also an issue because I was like, yes, I agree that all lives matter. I will always agree that all lives matter. But right now the conversation is not
It's
about
not
all
about you.
lives. It
Mm.
is about Black lives. That's
Yeah.
what we are talking about. So don't
Yeah.
come up in here with your all lives matter thing. But at the same time, in this scenario that you've painted, sorry, I'm very partial to the children. The children must not suffer. In this scenario, I'm like, Black lives matter, but so does this person's children's life. Do you know what I mean? You're asking this individual to
I
choose
know.
between supporting, you know, other people and supporting their children. They're always going to choose their children first. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
skin color you are.
I
You know what
understand.
I mean?
And that's why I'm saying it's gray. It's so gray and
It's
awful and hard.
complicated.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like,
Um,
find a new job. But
yeah.
while you're working on finding a new job because your boss is a shitty human, find a new job. While that's in process, do what you can in the
Yeah.
community. Do what you can to support the movement. Do what you
Yeah.
can if you can go to the protests, if you can support people, if you can contribute financially, if you can help out in any which way, shape, or form. If you can educate your other white people who are or your white
Mm.
friends or people in your community who are also racist, whatever you can do, like we said, every little bit helps. And it doesn't
Mm.
have to all happen on social media.
Mm. No,
I don't know.
I
It's
fully
complicated. It is.
I'm fully with you. It's so hard, it's so complicated. I think the one thing that's coming to mind for me is that like because the thing that I'm trying to navigate around is this idea of being two-faced, right? So in front of your boss, you're one person, but then you are also signing the petition. And for me, it would require you to be like, if your boss were to ask you point blank, you would need to be like, yes, I support Black Lives
Yes,
Matter.
of course.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
your boss were to like, I don't know, because yes, if he or she boldly does something that's racist and you call it out, fine. But it's often like racism today is also more micro than it is full on, and unless you are in a really rough situation. And and both of them are equally as horrible, you know? I just think you also need to own your stand and own your position irrespective of who asks you. Anyway,
Cass, that's not something
it's
you can
hard.
ask people to do. That's
It's
that's where
hard.
I feel like I hear what you're saying about it coming across as being two-faced. I don't feel like it's two-faced, but that's just me.
Mm.
And I think that where you will lose people is when a movement demands all or nothing from people. Like innately we are selfish as humans. We prioritize ourselves, our families, our babies,
I
before we
get
start
you.
to think
Yeah.
about the people in our community, people in our gender, people in our race or whatever. I
Mm.
think that when you demand all or nothing from people, then they are conflicted and they're like,
I guess I
well,
hear what you're saying because for me in my
you
mind,
can
it's not all or nothing. For me, it's consistency. That's what I'm demanding.
it is
And so,
consistency. But I'm like, why do you have to tell your boss that you support Black Lives Matter? He's
no,
your
but that's
boss.
no, no, no. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's not like I'm asking you to come to the office with Black Lives Matter tattooed on your forehead. Like,
But
if
that's
you
what you
want to do
should
that,
do.
though,
You should
cool,
you should be
right?
wearing a shirt or
I'm with you.
something.
I'm with you. The picture that I would paint is, and I have been in this situation. Like this was me, okay?
How did you
Where
handle then? Tell us.
no, 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 no. Let me tell you the story because I was the only black female on a
Mm,
team with a
mm.
white Afrikaans manager. Okay? But
Ish.
the only black female. And the treatment of the men on the team and me was blatantly different.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the thing that got me was that the men on my team would come to me and be like, yo, he was so mean to you. He said this thing to you. Like it's so horrible. Um, but when there was opportunity to speak up for me in front of him, they didn't.
Oh, but that's a different scenario, Cass.
No. So the picture that I'm painting is imagine like so in this picture that I'm painting of you report to a racist boss and you see them acting in a certain way, but you still need to protect yourself and you still need to protect your relationship. And you yourself are afraid for your children because if I lose this job, I can't feed my children. But I'm also watching an indiscretion. What's the right thing to do there?
You call it out if you see, like, if he's being, because so in the initial scenario you'd painted, I thought it was just more like if you, because you know how, and I know companies do this quite a, have been doing this since social media blew up. You know how you post something wild on social media and then you get
Yeah.
fired for it because what
Yeah.
you posted was
Yeah. Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was more how I was thinking. Like you post something, you posted something wild, and then your boss is like, you're out. But like, if
Yeah.
you are in, if and in your experience, they are all in this room with you, and your boss is treating you like shit, and they recognize it. Why aren't they saying anything?
My thing
Like,
is,
they're not
but
gonna get fired for that.
this is my thing though, is that like, it's if he had slapped me across the face, it would have been better.
What did
Do
he
you know
do
what I
though? Can you
mean?
give me an example of
Like,
like one thing that he
I
did?
can give you an example, okay? Because there was many times where I wish he would punch me. I would wish that he would slap me across the face because then it would be clear and blatant and I could go and I could get him fired. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be I just slap me. Like that would be so much easier than this nonsense psychological thing that you're doing with me now. So for example, what he'd do is we would have a conversation on this like separately and agree to something and then I
Mm,
would go and like do the thing, come
mm,
back, present it, whatever. And he would either like undercut it or undermine it or tell people that I didn't do it or take credit for my work or
mm,
whatever it is, you know,
mhm,
these kinds of things.
mhm,
Um and like the one time, for example, I executed this project, we delivered fantastic, like truly amazing results. And usually what happens is then you send an email to all the higher ups to be like, I did a thing. And all the higher
mm,
ups respond and be like, great job. You know, like
mm,
and then it's exposure. Um I did this thing, the thing delivered fantastic results. The side conversation was he said to me, this will never work.
mm,
Okay. And then I did it and I worked with someone on my team to be like, he has said this thing, but I really believe in it. We like co-created a little bit together. He was like, do this, talk to this person, whatever. Anyway, I did it. It worked. It was brilliant. Presented it to him and he was just kind of like, okay, fine. You could see that there was bitterness in him about
yeah, yeah,
he'd
yeah,
shut it
yeah.
down, but it worked. And then when it came time to present this thing, he like wouldn't let me present it, wouldn't let me showcase it, and like actively shut it down as being like not a good thing. Now, the two guys that were in the team, they just looked at me like, I'm like,
What did
you
they say to you afterwards?
how why did he do that? Like that's so weird. He's very blatantly mistreating you. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, why didn't you say that in the room? Why didn't you say that in the meeting? Because to challenge him would have no consequence on like your perception or whatever it is. It would just be an additional voice in the room. Anyway, I digress. And we've gone on
No,
this point too
no,
long.
but exactly. The point is for them speaking out in that moment would not get them fired.
It would not have gotten him
It
fired,
would not get them fired.
but it would have put um kind of like a target on them with him.
But now you see, there's two of them. right, who have witnessed this thing, who have spoken out in a room. And then there's you. So now there's three of you who have witnessed this man be an absolute shitty person. So when push comes to shove, there's three witnesses. Do you know what I mean? And three people
I'm
with a target on
completely
their
with you.
back, you are
But
stronger together.
and this is a kumbaya story of how it should be. But like it there was fear from them to speak
Yeah.
out. And so
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
didn't. And
Mm-hmm.
that drove me insane because I'm like, don't now come to me and like help me lick
Yeah.
my
No,
wounds
I get you. I
when it
I
matters, you're silent.
I
Like
get you.
I just
But
don't do
fear
that.
is such a strong
Fear.
motivator, hey?
And that's
Like
why
the
I'm
fear,
saying it's weird and it's
but it's
gray and
not two-faced, it's fear.
it's
That's the
still
thing.
two-faced. It's still
I
two-faced. You
I I don't
you
think
made
so.
it. It is because you've made a choice. Whether
No,
whatever.
you were afraid, and so you didn't make a choice.
No, no, no. You made a choice. In every instance, you have a choice. And you chose yourself in that moment. You chose self-preservation. And fine, that's your choice that you made. And yes, you made it out of fear, but it makes you two-faced. In my mind. It makes you
I don't
two-faced.
agree, but okay. I agree with the fear part. I don't
Yes.
agree that it makes you two-faced. I think that there's you can believe in something and be afraid to speak out about it. I'm not saying it makes it right, but I'm saying fear is a real thing. And until
Mm,
you get to a point where your conviction is stronger than your fear will always hold your voice. Like it will always keep you from speaking out. And
mm,
for a lot of people, that's a journey to go on. Getting from the
yeah.
point of fear to absolute 100% conviction where you're like, if I perish, I perish. Like that's a that's a journey,
But
and it
you're very, yeah, you're
takes
right.
people
Yeah.
time to get there. And I think that sometimes you need to be patient with people. You need to keep saying it, keep reminding them,
Mm,
keep
mm,
talking
mm.
about it so that people can come out of that fear to a point of, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, whew.
Anyway,
It's
this one
complicated.
this one
It's
is so complicated.
complicated.
It's so complicated and it's so hard. And yes, there are going to be things where it's very okay for you to like dip and be like, you know what, Britney Spears and Madonna are fighting and you don't want to
Dip.
get involved.
I'm
Like
not
dip,
getting
like
involved.
whatever, it's fine.
Not
But it
getting
does
involved.
the line definitely becomes a lot grayer in like these bigger societal issues where you're almost
Yeah.
forced to have an opinion, to take a stand. And if you have the wrong opinion, quote unquote, that can get you cancelled, it can get you fired, it can get you all of these things. So
Mm.
this one is hard. Anyway, this is a lot of what's been going through my mind
It's
tonight.
hard, friend. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And we do not
Yeah.
have the answers.
Yeah.
Like I said, baseline is you speak up. You speak
Yeah.
up, you speak up, you speak up. Baseline.
Yeah.
But if you're
Yeah.
struggling with speaking up out of fear or shame or whatever, or then I think that you start with what you can, which is being a part of that fight in a different way until you're able to, wear it across your forehead.
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like every little bit helps. You start at the grassroots, you start in the community, you start by calling people out at the dinner table until you get to a
Mm.
point where you're like, Black Lives Matter or cancel or reinstate Roe v. Wade or
Yeah. Yeah.
me too.
Hectic.
Whatever it is.
Anyway, come say hi on socials, and come tell us what your opinion is. Like, where is the line between willful ignorance and taking a
Shoo.
stand? It is
A rough
difficult.
episode.
It is complex, and I told you, I preambled this, and I told you, like this one will be deep. But I
Yeah.
really want to hear from you. Come say hi on socials. You can find us on Instagram and on TikTok, and of course, you can listen to the episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as well. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe anywhere and everywhere you find your podcasts. Also, you can watch and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, love you. Bye.